Alright, Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 4 has been released on Disney+, so now I finally talk about it. Hey, like I said, I had a few videos to make. Now we do Obi-Wan. So as usual, here is your spoiler warning. If you have not watched Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 4 yet, you probably should not watch this video unless you don't care, cause I will be breaking down the details of what happens in this episode. So you have been warned. Alright, so if you remember, I thought Obi-Wan Part 3 was awesome. They brought in Darth Vader, they had him do some really cool stuff. In fact, when it was over, I was like, how are you gonna top this? We have 3 episodes to go. And I guess in Part 4, the writers were like, I don't know. We'll just have another rescue mission, I guess. Yeah, this episode was just okay. It was definitely a step down from the last one. I didn't hate it though. It starts off with Obi-Wan healing from his burn wounds in the Bacta tank. Should have seen that coming really, because Bacta tanks, they're almost like a cheat. They can heal pretty much anything. I wish we had something like that. And so they're on the planet Jabeam, which is I guess where this little pseudo-rebellion is starting. Because to my knowledge, at the 10-year mark after Revenge of the Sith, I don't think there's much of an official rebellion yet. Because wasn't Star Wars Rebels like the genesis of the rebellion? Wasn't that the whole point of that show? And Star Wars Rebels doesn't start until 4 years after the events of this show. So really, I don't think this is like the start of the rebellion. I think this is really just a couple of people who are against the Empire. They are rebels, but they're not, official rebels. Rebels. Although they do have O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son, so that has to count for something. It's good to see him getting more work, actually, after his minor role in Godzilla King of the Monsters. But yeah, this episode is pretty much just another Leia rescue mission, and we've done that once already. I've heard some people describe this episode as filler, and I can't entirely disagree. I mean, I guess we get more character development of Leia and Reva and Tala. And I'll tell you this, the more I watch Reva, the more I like this character. I know Moses Ingram is getting some shit from random people. She's gotten some shade thrown her way, but I got nothing against her. It took her character a couple of episodes to grow on me, but at this point she has grown on me. When she's interrogating Leia, I thought she was pretty intimidating. Moses Ingram is really good at conveying what Reva wants. She really has this secret agenda of her own. She wants her own personal justice, and I really like that about her. She's not just bad guy for the sake of the Empire. She has her own personal vendetta against Obi-Wan, if not the Jedi in general. I think that's really cool. A couple of things that did disappoint me about this episode, admittedly. First of all, and I know this is gonna sound petty, but this being a sneaking undercover rescue mission, this would have been the perfect episode for an I have a bad feeling about this. I mean, Tala's undercover. She's on comms with Obi-Wan who's sneaking around. I was waiting for that line. I was waiting for Tala or Ben to be like, I've got a bad feeling about this. And it never happened. I was like, what a waste. Again, petty, I know. But again, I am kind of seeing this as an unofficial entry in the Skywalker saga. Star Wars Episode 3.5. That's what this is. At least in my eyes. I don't know, maybe I'm being too much of a purist. And secondly, the musical score. In fact, this is something that's been kind of bothering me since part 1. I mean, no offense to Natalie Holt. I think she's a really good composer. She did a great job with Loki. But this limited series being the unofficial Star Wars Episode 3.5, I think that does allow for more of the classic John Williams themes to be in it. You know, we could have had some of the old Force theme, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, as Obi-Wan is throwing down, or that main Star Wars theme, or how about the Imperial March when Vader's on screen? That would be awesome. I am actually fine with no Imperial March when Vader is on screen, because we have a whole Vader movie with no Imperial March, and it's awesome. So Vader can work without the Imperial March, for the first time since 1977, but it did just throw me off a little bit. All I'm saying is, if those John Williams themes were to be in this series, no one would be bitching about it. I know the Star Wars live-action Disney Plus series had been trying to steer away from that John Williams Star Wars movie sound, but with the other ones, Mandalorian, Boba Fett, that made sense. With Obi-Wan, I feel like more classic themes are justified, but that's just my opinion. So the scene where Leia is being interrogated by Reva, Reva's using the Force on her, and Leia, you see, she is resisting. And watching this, I was like, I don't think she should have been able to do that. We all know that Leia is Force sensitive. However, she didn't really discover that until the events of Return of the... Well, actually, it was the end of Empire Strikes Back. But still, that was the moment that we first learned that she is Force sensitive. And it was later on in her life. And she didn't even realize that herself until Return of the Jedi. So for her to be a kid and resist this really Force strong Inquisitor, I do find that kind of strange. What can I say? Leia's supposed to be a late bloomer. I did like the scene where Obi-Wan goes into this corridor and he sees all these dead Jedi on display. That was pretty grim. I was like, ugh. those Inquisitors surely do have some fucked up minds. They're like serial killers or something. To display their victims like that, including even a kid, a youngling, Padawan, whatever, that is pretty messed up. And speaking of messed up, since Leia doesn't want to talk, Reva takes her to this torture chamber, kind of like the one that Han Solo was in Empire. And I was like, holy shit, is Reva about to torture a 10-year-old kid? That's bad. I mean, in a good way. It was good in the show, but it's just fucked up. It's evil. And so to rescue her, Obi-Wan's like, all right, Tala, I need a distraction. I need it now. And so I like how Tala actually gets her own cover blown in order for Ben to rescue Leia. And I'll say this about Tala Dorith. I actually think she's a pretty neat character. I mean, I'm pretty sure she is gonna die. Otherwise, she would have been in other installments of Star Wars. But you know what? That just makes this character even better. She's probably gonna end up sacrificing herself for some rebellion or something. Kanan Jarrus and Jyn Erso will later do the same thing. And so Obi-Wan rescues Leia by just wiping out these stormtroopers. This is the first time we've really seen him be a badass with his lightsaber in this series. And it is cool to see. He's getting his mojo back. It had to happen because in the original film, he's totally fine using the Force and his lightsaber. So alright, one of the things this limited series does is explain how Ben gets his confidence back. That's really cool. And it's appreciated. I mean, none of the action in this episode was as cool as any of the action in the last episode, where that stormtrooper got cut in half, for example, by that laser gate. That was business. But it was still pretty neat. And so Ben and Tala and Leia, they get away because they're saved by these pseudo-rebels. They come to the rescue in snow speeders? I had to step back for a second and be like, why snow speeders? I mean, they were built for the snow specifically. They were built for Hoth, or at least that's my understanding. I don't know, that's a nitpick. Maybe this little tiny pseudo-rebellion didn't have any other ships available. So alright, they used what they had. So the good guys get away, and then it cuts to Reva, and I was like, oh, Vader's gonna be pissed. Sure enough, man, he comes just marching in. He's like,
you were warned about what would happen if you failed.
And he force chokeholds her up in the air. I was like, yup, he's pissed. That's always awesome to see. Although Reva does save her own ass by saying she put a tracker on the ship. To which Vader says,
it seems I may have underestimated you.
So Reva gets to live for now, but I imagine not much longer. And it shows that as Tala and Ben and Leia, they're all in the ship, that Reva did indeed put a tracker in there. It's in Leia's little Lola droid. Uh-oh. That's actually pretty cool. It's like Lola is gonna be evil now or something. I don't know. But I am curious to see where that goes. I'm not gonna lie. So in the end, Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 4, yeah, like I said, it was okay. Not the best episode of the series, but I imagine this is the end of Act 2. So we got 2 episodes left. That's going to be Act 3. You know, it's a 3-act story. That's usually how stories go. And I'm hoping for this 3rd act to really rev up and give us something awesome. I guess only time will tell. So, Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 4. Have you watched it yet? You've had a few days. What are your thoughts on it? And do you think the 3rd act is going to kick it up into high gear and give us something awesome? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Peace.